In the heart of a bustling city between towering buildings and busy streets lived 8-year-old Mia and her mother Angela. Their modest apartment, though small, was filled with warmth and love. The walls carried Mia's colorful drawings, shelves overflowed with well-loved books, and the little kitchen was where mother and daughter often cooked together. Mia was a bright, curious girl with curly hair that bounced when she ran, and a smile that could light up even the gloomiest days. Angela, a hard-working single mother, devoted herself completely to providing for her daughter, and despite challenges, their bond made their world feel complete. One sunny afternoon, after school, Mia skipped toward the park she loved so much. There on a bench sat a man she had never seen before. His clothes were tattered, his beard unkempt, and his shoulders slumped as though the weight of the world pressed down on him. Even from afar, Mia sensed his sadness. When she came closer, she heard the faint rumbling of his stomach. Without hesitation, she opened her backpack and pulled out the peanut butter and jelly sandwich her mother had packed. It was her favorite snack, yet when she looked at the man's hungry face, she knew what she needed to do. Gathering courage, Mia approached. "Excuse me, sir," she said softly. The man looked up, startled. His blue eyes, though tired, were kind. Mia held out the sandwich and smiled. "I thought you might be hungry. Would you like it?" He hesitated, but when she insisted, he accepted with gratitude. "Thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "What's your name?" "Mia," she replied. "I'm John," he answered, unwrapping the sandwich carefully as though it were a gift. "You've just made me very happy." Mia sat beside him, swinging her legs. She asked why he was alone, and he explained gently that life sometimes took unexpected turns, but kindness like hers made things easier. Before leaving, he told her, "Never lose that kindness in your heart. It can change the world." With that, Mia skipped home, excited to tell her mother about her new friend. When Mia recounted the story, Angela's heart filled with both pride and worry. She hugged her daughter tightly, praising her compassion but warning her to be cautious around strangers. She explained that kindness must also be practiced with care, and suggested safer ways to help, such as volunteering at a soup kitchen or donating clothes. Mia eagerly agreed, thrilled by the idea of helping with her mother. That night, as Angela tucked her in, Mia whispered, "Do you think John will be okay?" Angela answered with hope and reassured her that her kindness had surely meant more than she realized. The next morning, a knock at the door startled them. Angela opened it to find 2 police officers, serious and formal. They introduced themselves and explained they needed to speak with Angela and Mia about something that had happened the previous evening. Nervously, Angela invited them inside. The officers knelt down to Mia's level and asked about the man she had met in the park. Mia, cheerful and innocent, described John in detail. The gray hair, the scruffy beard, the tired eyes that turned kind when he smiled. She told them how she had shared her sandwich and how happy he had been. Angela, uneasy, finally asked why they were so interested. The officers revealed that John had been found unconscious in the park later that day and was now in the hospital. Angela gasped while Mia's face crumpled with worry. "Is John okay?" she asked, her small voice trembling. The officers reassured her that doctors were caring for him, but explained that Mia's interaction with him was the last confirmed sighting before he was found. They emphasized that they weren't accusing anyone, only trying to piece together what had happened. After answering their questions, Mia looked to her mother with tears in her eyes. "Mommy, did I do something wrong?" Angela held her tightly and whispered that she had done nothing wrong. She had been kind and generous, just as she was taught. Yet Angela herself felt unsettled. Something about the encounter had shifted their lives in ways she didn't yet understand. The rest of the day passed under a heavy cloud. Mia was quieter than usual, her cheerful spirit dimmed by worry for John. When they went out for fresh air, Angela noticed curious eyes on them. Neighbors peering from windows, whispers rising in the corner store. The presence of the police at their building had already stirred gossip. Angela forced a calm smile for her daughter's sake, but inside unease lingered. She wondered what had truly happened to John, and what role her daughter's simple act of kindness might now play in a much larger story. Community whispers had already begun, and Angela felt a sinking dread knowing the police visit was turning into neighborhood gossip. She and Mia made their way to a small playground a few blocks from their apartment. As Mia ran straight for the swings, Angela sat on a bench nearby, her mind heavy with worry. A cluster of mothers stood together, glancing toward her with a mix of curiosity and judgment. Sarah, a woman Angela knew from PTA meetings, broke away from the group and walked over. "Hey, Angela," Sarah said, her tone wavering between concern and nosiness. "Is everything all right? We heard there was some trouble." Angela sighed, realizing she couldn't avoid the conversation. "There's no trouble, Sarah. Mia helped a homeless man in the park yesterday, and the police just had some questions about him." Sarah's eyes widened. "A homeless man? Oh my, was Mia okay? Was he dangerous?" No, Angela said quickly. Mia was fine. She just shared her sandwich with him. He was kind to her. Sarah looked relieved, but Angela could see her mind spinning. Still, you can never be too careful these days. Maybe you should keep a closer eye on Mia. Angela's irritation flared. Mia is perfectly safe. She did a kind thing for someone in need. As Sarah returned to her group, Angela heard the whispers spark again. Snatches of words like dangerous, irresponsible, poor child. Their judgment made her chest tighten. She wanted to defend Mia's innocence out loud, to shout back, but she knew it would only fuel the gossip. On the swings, Mia soared higher and higher, her laughter carrying across the playground. Oblivious to the adult drama, Angela envied her daughter's ability to find joy in the simple act of swinging, even as judgment closed in around them. More neighbors approached throughout the afternoon. Old Mr. Johnson patted Angela's shoulder and said warmly, "You're raising a fine girl, Angela. The world needs more kindness, not less." His support buoyed her for a moment. But then came Mrs. Peterson, the self-appointed neighborhood watch captain, her voice sticky with false sweetness. "Angela, dear, I hope you'll be more careful in the future. We can't have our children associating with those types of people. It sets a bad example." Angela's temper flared hot. "Those types of people? You mean human beings who've fallen on hard times?" The example Mia set was beautiful. She saw someone in need and helped. "Isn't that what we should all do?" Mrs. Peterson's face reddened, but before she could respond, Angela took Mia's hand and walked away, her head high. As they climbed the stairs to their apartment, Mia asked softly, "Mommy, why did Mrs. Peterson look so mad?" Angela sighed, choosing her words carefully. "Some people have a hard time understanding kindness when it's given to strangers. But that doesn't mean we stop being kind. It just means we have to be brave in our kindness." Mia mulled this over, then said firmly, "I'm glad I gave John my sandwich, even if it made some people mad." Angela's chest swelled with pride. "I'm glad you did too, sweetheart. You did the right thing." Inside, Angela's phone buzzed with a message from her best friend. "Girl, what's going on?" "Heard about the police." "You okay? Call me." Angela groaned. The story had spread even further than she imagined. She'd explain it to Letitia later. For now, she tried to find peace in their apartment, away from prying eyes and wagging tongues. That evening, just as Angela was catching her breath in the kitchen, there was a knock at the door. Her body tensed, bracing for police or nosy neighbors. But when she opened the door, there stood Maria, their upstairs neighbor, holding a covered dish. "I heard you had a rough day," Maria said kindly. "Thought you could use some comfort food. It's my abuela's enchilada recipe." Tears stung Angela's eyes. "Maria, thank you. You have no idea how much this means." Maria smiled. "Mia's a special girl. Don't let anyone make you doubt that." What she did was beautiful. As Maria left, Angela felt a weight lift. Yes, there were those who judged, but there were also people who understood. She called Mia to the kitchen and they shared the warm enchiladas, sitting together in their little kitchen as the sun dipped low outside. The golden glow through the window made Angela realize something important. Mia's small act of sharing a sandwich had set events in motion that would challenge them. Yes, but it had also reaffirmed the power of compassion. She vowed that no matter what happened, she would never let the world dim the light of kindness in her daughter's heart. The following days passed in a blur, with life resuming its rhythms, though Angela felt a quiet tension, as though they were waiting for another knock at the door. Mia bounced back quickly to her cheerful self, though she often asked, "Mommy, do you think John is okay?" Angela reassured her each time, though inside her heart clenched with worry. It was a warm Wednesday afternoon when the knock finally came again. Angela had just brought Mia home from school, and they were sharing a snack when the sharp rap echoed through their apartment. Mia's eyes widened. "Is it about John?" she whispered. Angela squeezed her hand. Let's find out together. Opening the door, Angela saw Officers Johnson and Rodriguez, their expressions unreadable. They stepped inside and settled in the living room, where Mia perched nervously on the couch. Officer Rodriguez smiled gently. How are you doing, Mia? Have you been thinking about John? Every day, Mia said eagerly. Is he okay? Can we visit him? The officers exchanged a glance before Officer Johnson leaned forward. Mia, do you remember how kind you were to John? How you shared your sandwich with him? Mia nodded, eyes wide. That act of kindness, Johnson continued, did more than just give him food. It helped him remember who he was. Angela gasped. What do you mean? Rodriguez turned to her. Mrs. Thompson, the man Mia met, isn't just a homeless person. His real name is Jonathan Caldwell. He's been missing for over a year. The room went silent. Mia blinked. But he told me his name was John. That's right, Rodriguez said. Jonathan had lost his memory after a traumatic event. He didn't know who he was or where he belonged. But your kindness, Mia, triggered something in him. It helped him start to remember. Angela covered her mouth, tears welling. So he's not homeless? Johnson shook his head. No. Jonathan comes from a wealthy family in New York. They've been searching for him tirelessly. Mia tilted her head, confused. But why was he in the park? Why didn't he go home? Rodriguez explained gently. Sometimes when people go through something very scary, their minds protect them by making them forget. That's what happened to Jonathan. But your kindness reminded him of love and care, and it opened the door to his memories. Angela hugged Mia close, overwhelmed by the thought that her daughter's small gesture had altered a man's life. What happens now? She whispered. Johnson smiled. Jonathan's family would like to meet you both. They want to thank Mia for helping bring their son back. Mia's face lit up. We get to meet John's family? Can we, Mommy, please? Angela hesitated, protective instincts stirring. But when she saw the hope in Mia's eyes, she knew the answer. All right, she said softly. We'd be happy to. The next few days were a whirlwind of preparation. On the morning of the meeting, Angela dressed Mia in her favorite yellow sundress, the one that made her curls gleam in the sunlight. They went to the park, the very spot where everything had begun. Jonathan was there, looking healthier and steadier, with a couple beside him whose faces radiated relief and joy. The moment Jonathan spotted Mia, his face broke into a wide smile. Mia, he called warmly. It's so good to see you again. Mia ran forward. Jonathan, you look so different. He knelt to her level, his eyes twinkling. I feel different. Because of you. You helped me remember who I am, Mia. You're my hero. She blushed. I just shared my sandwich. Jonathan's mother knelt beside him, tears in her eyes. Oh, sweetheart, it was so much more than that. Your kindness brought our son back to us. We can never thank you enough. Angela watched, her own eyes misty, as Jonathan's father shook her hand. Mrs. Thompson, I'm Edward Caldwell. What your daughter did, it's nothing short of a miracle. Please call me Angela, she said softly. Mia was just being herself. She's always had a big heart. That big heart changed everything, Edward replied warmly. We had lost hope. And then a little girl shares her sandwich, and suddenly our son is home again. The family spent the afternoon together on a picnic blanket Jonathan's mother had brought. They laughed, shared stories, and marveled at the strange twist of fate that had brought them together. As the sun dipped lower, Jonathan's voice grew thoughtful. When I was lost, I felt like I was in darkness. I didn't remember who I was. But then this little angel showed me kindness. It was like a light in the dark, and it led me back. Mia's eyes shone as she leaned against her mother. For Angela, the lesson was clear. A single act of kindness, simple, small, and given without hesitation, had the power to change everything. Angela listened as Jonathan spoke quietly, his words carrying the weight of memory and healing. I remember more now, he said, his voice steady but touched with emotion. Angela watched her daughter process the words, marveling at her capacity for understanding at such a young age. Mia nodded solemnly, then suddenly wrapped her small arms around Jonathan in a fierce hug. I'm glad you're not lost anymore, she whispered, her voice muffled against his shirt. The sun dipped lower, long shadows stretching across the park. Edward cleared his throat, glancing between Angela and Mia. There's something we'd like to discuss with you both, he said carefully. Angela's heart fluttered with nervous anticipation. Catherine smiled gently. It's nothing bad, I promise. We've been talking, and Jonathan's experience has reminded us how important it is to help others in need. We'd like to start a foundation, one focused on helping the homeless and those struggling with memory loss or mental health challenges. And she paused, her eyes shining. We'd like to name it after Mia, the Mia Thompson Foundation for Compassion and Memory Recovery. Angela gasped, her hand flying to her mouth. Mia's eyes widened in disbelief, her lips forming a perfect little O. Jonathan leaned in, smiling warmly. We'd love for you both to be involved. Your kindness and perspective would mean everything to us. Of course, only if you want to. Angela turned to her daughter. Sweetheart, would you like to help other people the way you helped Jonathan? Mia's curls bounced as she nodded vigorously. Yes, please, Mommy, can we? Angela laughed through her tears and pulled Mia close. Of course, baby. Of course we can. In the days that followed, their lives shifted. Angela felt the judgment from nosy neighbors melt into insignificance compared to what was unfolding now. Mia's simple act of kindness had not only brought Jonathan back to his family, but it also sparked something far larger, a chance to change countless lives. Soon after, the Caldwells invited them to New York to plan the foundation's first steps. On the plane ride, Mia pressed her face to the window, her excitement bubbling over. We're going to New York. We're going to help people. Angela smiled, her nerves twisting with anticipation. This was all moving so quickly, but she knew it was right. At the airport, Edward greeted them warmly, shaking Angela's hand and crouching to give Mia a high five. Welcome. We're so glad you're here. As they drove through the city, Mia stared out the window at the towering skyline. Everything's so big, she whispered. Edward chuckled. Even in a city this size, Mia, a small act of kindness can make a huge difference, just like you already proved. When they arrived at the Caldwell home, the door opened and out bounded Max, a golden retriever whose wagging tail nearly knocked Mia over. Jonathan followed, looking healthier than Angela remembered. He's been waiting to meet you, he said with a grin. Mia squealed with delight, hugging the dog tight. Over the following days, they toured the city, but much of their time was spent at the table, sketching out the foundation's plans. Catherine listened intently as Mia shared her ideas. We could give out sandwiches like I did for Jonathan, and maybe put nice notes inside so people know they're not alone. Edward leaned forward, inspired. Yes, sandwich stations in different neighborhoods, simple, direct, and kind. Jonathan ruffled Mia's curls. That's brilliant. Angela watched in awe as her daughter spoke with such confidence, her compassion shining through. She felt her own anxiety begin to ease. These people didn't just see Mia as a child, they valued her voice. One afternoon, they visited a homeless shelter to serve meals together. Mia stood on a chair behind the serving table, handing out plates with a smile. I hope you have a wonderful day, she said to each person. A weary man paused, his eyes softening. Thank you, little one. You've already brightened my day. Angela's chest tightened with emotion as she saw the small miracle unfolding. The shelter, once heavy with silence, slowly filled with light and laughter. That evening, Edward raised a glass at dinner. After what we saw today, we've decided to expand. Not just here in New York. We want to open kindness centers and sandwich stations in cities across the country. Starting in Chicago, Los Angeles, Miami. Gasps filled the room. Mia's eyes were wide as she whispered, We'll be helping even more people? Jonathan squeezed her hand. Yes, Mia. Thanks to you, so many more people will feel hope again. Angela sat back, overwhelmed. Just weeks ago, she and Mia had been in their small apartment, weathering gossip and judgment from neighbors. Now her daughter was at the heart of a movement spreading compassion across the nation. Later, as she tucked Mia into bed in the Caldwell's guest room, Angela stroked her daughter's curls. How are you feeling, sweetie? It's been a big day. Mia yawned, snuggling into the pillows. I'm happy, Mommy. Happy we're helping people. Just like you taught me. Angela kissed her forehead, her heart swelling with pride. You've done more than I ever imagined, baby. You're changing the world. She stood in the doorway, watching her daughter drift to sleep with a contented smile on her face. Angela thought of that day in the park, of a sandwich shared with a stranger. One small act had set everything in motion. She whispered a silent promise to herself and to Mia. No matter what came next, they would face the world with open hearts and helping hands. because now they knew the truth, that even the smallest kindness could spark a revolution of compassion. Angela nodded understandingly. I know it could be overwhelming, she said gently. But remember, you and Mia are the heart of this. We'll only move as fast as you're comfortable with. Their last day in New York was spent finalizing plans and preparing for the return home. As Angela folded clothes into a suitcase, she noticed Mia unusually quiet. What's on your mind, sweetie? She asked. Mia looked up, her eyes serious. Mommy, when we go home, will everything be different? Angela paused, choosing her words with care. Some things will be different, yes. We'll be busier, and we'll be helping more people. But the important things, our home, our love for each other, those won't change. Mia seemed satisfied with this answer, but then asked softly, and we'll still be able to help people in our neighborhood too, right? Angela smiled, pulling her daughter into a hug. Of course. We'll start right where we began, in our own community. When they said their goodbyes to the Caldwells, there were hugs and tears all around. Remember, Edward said warmly as they prepared to leave for the airport, you're not alone in this. We're a team now. On the flight home, Mia dozed against Angela's shoulder. Angela stared out the window, reflecting on the whirlwind of the past few weeks. Their lives had changed in ways she never could have imagined, all because of a simple act of kindness. As the plane touched down, Angela felt excitement rising within her. They were returning with a mission, ready to make real change in their community and beyond. The days that followed were busy. Angela and Mia worked closely with the Caldwells through video calls, planning the launch of their local kindness center. They reached out to businesses, scouted locations, and recruited volunteers. Word spread quickly. Many of the neighbors who once whispered and judged now stepped forward, eager to help. Even Mrs. Peterson, who had been so critical before, approached Angela with humility. I was wrong, she admitted one afternoon as they set up the center. What Mia did was beautiful. I'm honored to be part of this. The grand opening day arrived, and Angela felt a rush of nerves and excitement as she and Mia faced the gathered crowd. Mia stepped up to the microphone, her face serious but her eyes shining. Hello everyone, she began, her voice clear and strong. Thank you for coming today. We're here because we believe kindness matters, that helping people matters, and that even the smallest act of kindness can change someone's whole world. As she spoke about Jonathan and the Foundation's beginnings, Angela scanned the audience and saw tears in eyes, heads nodding and smiles spreading. When Mia finished, the applause was thunderous. In the weeks that followed, the impact of the Mia Thompson Foundation rippled outward. The Kindness Center became a beacon of hope, offering food, supplies, and a listening ear to anyone in need. Despite her young age, Mia was at the heart of it all. Every afternoon after school, she helped prepare meals, greeted visitors, and spread her warmth to everyone she met. One evening after cleanup, Mia looked thoughtful. Mommy, do you think we're making a difference? She asked. Angela knelt down, looking into her daughter's eyes. Sweetheart, I know we are. Look at all the smiles we've seen. You've started something amazing. Mia smiled faintly. I'm glad. I just want everyone to feel loved like you make me feel loved all the time. Angela hugged her tightly, tears stinging her eyes. Oh, baby, you're changing the world one act of kindness at a time. And I couldn't be prouder. Their lives were filled with both ordinary routines and extraordinary opportunities. One autumn morning, Mia spotted an elderly woman struggling with groceries. Without hesitation, she rushed to help. Would you like some help with your bags? She asked politely. The woman, Mrs. Larson, smiled gratefully. By the time they reached her apartment, Mia had already invited her to visit the Kindness Center and come for dinner. Mrs. Larson's eyes misted. I was feeling lonely this morning, she admitted softly, but you've brightened my whole day. As they walked on, Mia turned to Angela with an idea. Mommy, could we start a program to help older people like Mrs. Larson so they don't feel lonely? Angela's heart swelled with pride. That's a wonderful idea, sweetie. Let's talk about it with the Caldwells. On their next call, Mia pitched her idea. What if we had a buddy system, where young people could be friends with older people who might be lonely? The Caldwells were impressed. Edward beamed. That's brilliant. It could bridge generations. Catherine added, we could call it kindness across ages. Angela smiled. Perfect. Within weeks, the program launched. At the first event, Mia, wearing her bright yellow ambassador shirt, moved from table to table introducing young volunteers to their new elderly buddies. Angela watched proudly as shy teens opened up. Giggling girls listened intently to stories and unlikely friendships formed. Even Mrs. Peterson leaned in and whispered, "I never would have thought a child could teach us so much. Mia is truly special." Angela's eyes welled. She is, and she's inspiring us all. Soon after, a local news station featured Mia and the foundation. At first shy on camera, Mia found her voice. Asked why she started it all, she said simply, "I saw someone who needed help and I helped. If everyone did that, the world would be a much nicer place." The story touched viewers deeply. Calls and donations flooded in, and the foundation expanded faster than Angela ever dreamed. As Thanksgiving approached, Mia had another idea. What if we had a big Thanksgiving dinner at the center? For anyone who doesn't have family, we could all be like one big family together. Angela smiled, amazed by her daughter's endless compassion. With donations and volunteers, the Kindness Center was transformed into a warm dining hall. On Thanksgiving Day, Jonathan and the Caldwells joined them to serve. Guests from all walks of life filled the room with laughter and conversation. Toward the end of the evening, Edward raised a glass. A year ago, a little girl shared her sandwich with a stranger in the park. That act of kindness changed one man's life and has gone on to touch countless others. To Mia, who reminded us all of the power of compassion. Applause filled the hall as Angela pulled Mia close, whispering, "I'm so proud of you." That night, as they walked home through the crisp autumn air, Mia skipped along humming softly. "Mommy," she asked suddenly, "do you think we'll do this again next year?" Angela squeezed her hand. "I think we'll do this for many years as long as there are people who need kindness." Mia looked up at the stars and smiled. "I think the world is a little kinder now, and that makes me happy." Angela felt tears prick her eyes. "You're right, baby. And it's kinder because of you." Back in their cozy apartment, Angela knew that whatever the future held, they would face it together with open hearts and helping hands. Because now they understood without a doubt that even the smallest act of kindness could change the world.